Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our insurance webinar today. I'm so pleased that so many of you could join us this morning. Today, we're also joined by Graham Montz, Group Technical and Quality Director with Partners And. Partners And have recently become members of BAFSA. Graham has been in the insurance industry for 37 years after starting his career in Scotland as a chartered loss adjuster based in Perth and Dundee. He has specialist skills in the commercial industry sector, and in particular, manufacturing, retail, printing, warehousing, and local authorities. These are many of the areas where we protect the industry by installing automatic fire sprinklers. Over the last 37 years, Graham has handled insurance claims from the client perspective and fully understands the impact on business when the worst can happen. Graham will be happy to answer your questions at the end of the presentation. You may also submit questions using the chat box, and these will be answered at the end. And Graham is also happy to answer inquiries by email following the presentation. Please give a warm welcome to Graham Montz.
Good morning, Keith. Thank you for that kind introduction. I'll go in and pick up if you bear with me. I'll just start this now. So hopefully you can see the slides, and I'll move on. So yes, thank you, Keith, for the introduction. I genuinely appreciate the opportunity to be here this morning with everyone that's on the call. And we're just going to run through looking at intelligent advice that makes a difference. And I think it's an interesting title. And if I move on, so intelligent advice that makes a difference, I wanted to look into that a little bit more. And I asked a question of myself last night, which I was surprised at the answer. So what started first? Was it insurance protection or sprinkler protection? And I'm not sure, some of you may know the answer here, but I was delighted to find out that insurance protection actually started after sprinkler protection. And insurance protection started in the late 1500s, but your sector, your industry started earlier than we did. You started in the early 1500s. Now, some of you may know this, but I was really quite surprised and delighted to find the answer as to who designed the first fire sprinkler system. Now, I'm sure some of you know this, but for those of you that don't, you may be as surprised as I was that it was Leonardo da Vinci. So a fantastic founder for your sector, very, very impressive. So just on to intelligent advice that makes a difference. I think it's interesting that we share a common start point and objective in the sectors that we're involved in. And why are we both here is the question I would ask. And the answer absolutely is that intelligent advice protects tomorrow. It protects tomorrow for your clients and for our clients. And how do we do that? Well, we do it through insurance protection and you do it through fire sprinkler systems. So there's a real synergy, I think, genuinely between the two areas that we work in. So turning to the brief for today. So we're going to run through 5 key points. What is insurance? Understanding the business resilience value of insurance. Understanding the psychological value of insurance. And insurance is an investment. It's an investment in you and the investments you make. And finally, we'll look at our role as risk protection advisors and how we can help to protect you. So just moving on to the next slide. One of the areas I wanted to look at was the definition of a fire sprinkler system and the protection it provides. And this was really quite interesting for me, that a fire sprinkler system is designed as an active fire protection method consisting of a water supply system providing adequate pressure and flow rate to a water distribution piping system onto which fire sprinklers are connected. So I looked then at an equivalent definition for insurance. And I found again that there was a real synergy. So an insurance protection program is an active risk protection method consisting of a risk transfer system, providing adequate funding and response related to perils-based risk exposures, onto which pre-agreed protection wordings are connected. I think there are real similarities in what we both do. So to look at insurance and to simplify it, insurance is the removal, reduction and transfer of risk. Ordinarily, people will jump to the point of, I need insurance, and not look at the detail behind it. And actually, the optimum risk protection program starts with the removal of risk. So looking at what you or any other sector might do day in, day out, and asking, where can we remove some of that risk? Where are there areas or aspects of what we do that we can take out of the process? The next step then is reducing. So we've removed what we can, but how do we reduce or improve the remaining elements of risk? And finally, we move to transfer across the insurance, and that's where the actual insurance piece comes in. But the right risk protection program will look at all of these aspects. So removal, reduction, and then transfer, working in combination. And simply, what is insurance? Well, the common pool at the centre is the grounding and founding principle of insurance. I started my career up in what was General Accident's world headquarters in Perth, not far from Keith. And I learned then that this was simply about, we make contributions and pay premiums into the common pool. And from that, the insurer charges their management costs and makes claim payments. And it's the claim payments, obviously, that drive the amount of money that's required at the front end. And that is an area that I would like to look at in a bit more detail today. So the second area we wanted to look at was business resilience value of insurance. So insurance protects tomorrow. It's not about paying insurance for a piece of paper that you stick in the drawer. It protects tomorrow. Its fundamental design is to ensure resilience. And protection exists for design, manufacture, and installation. And I'd ask a question. Would you invest in your business if you couldn't insure it? Could you trade if you couldn't insure? And would clients engage you if you weren't insured? I started a business and developed that business, and it grew quite rapidly. And one of the keystones for me was making sure that we were insured correctly against the professional advice we were giving and all other aspects of the risk that the business had. And without that, I wouldn't have had the confidence to grow the business or move forward or make further investments. So I look at insurance as absolutely protecting tomorrow. It's there as a fundamental resilience measure for any business. So just want to look at a case study. And there's a case that you may well be aware of, a food sector business and a sprinkler installer, where there was an allegation of negligence following an incident. There'd been a major fire some years after the installation was made, and there was a question asked about the installation itself. And the fire totaled in value, from an insurance perspective, over £7 million. Now, there was no recovery against the installer, and very astutely, they had a clause in their policy which related to there being no liability for negligence in relation to the installation. But it was quite close, and whilst both parties were insured, the reality is that an incident like this can stop a business in its tracks. And those are the issues that we face every day, that something can go wrong unexpectedly, and despite everyone's best efforts, and an issue arises. So that is the reality of the exposure that we all face in business. So the risk potential is out there, but so is the protection ensuring your resilience. And what is the psychological value of insurance? Well, I think I'd ask the first question, and it's a genuine question. Would you sleep at night if you weren't insured? And having confidence in your protection supports your growth. Would you invest in some new machinery or additional members of your team? Or would you take on a new significant contract if you weren't protected? So I genuinely believe that having confidence in the protection supports growth. And equally, customers may demand proof of insurance before engaging with you. They may want to see that you are insured, that you have the right cover in place before they will engage with you. And knowing that you've invested in protection certainly encourages your future investment and confidence. And again, I come back to that initial point. We all want to sleep at night. So insurance as an investment, an area that we've touched on. Well, I've spent over 37 years in insurance, and I'm a bit of an insurance geek, for whatever that means. But I've spent over 30 years as a loss adjuster and a claims consultant. We acted for many clients where we took on the representation on their behalf and negotiated settlement with the insurers. And the reality was I was very busy, the team were very busy, because things go wrong. It does hit the fan. So I'm astutely aware that you will all invest long hours in your business, and you'll be passionate about your business. I'm sure that most of you are working 7 to 7, Monday to Friday, and possibly Saturdays as well. And you're very passionate about your business. It's what you live and breathe for. And because of that, you want your business to be there tomorrow if the worst happens. And I think that's the fundamental point is it is about protecting tomorrow. Don't think of it about insurance. You invested your time and money in your business, and it's about protecting tomorrow, protecting your business. So investment in the right insurance cover protects tomorrow for you, for your clients, for your staff, for your family. And that investment capability is there. You can protect against machinery, offices, stock, vehicles. You can protect your earnings and gross profit. You can protect against liabilities. And I realise that the professional indemnity piece is a big challenge at the moment. And you can protect against cybercrime. This is ever more prevalent with phishing and ransom attacks. You can protect the people in your business and your shareholders. And you can also protect the well-being of your team. All of these areas are insurable. There are products out there. And it's designing the right product for you that is key. So to me, risk protection advice is business health. So in the world today, I'm aware that there is an issue with the cost of professional indemnity insurance. We're aware of the Construction Leadership Council Megapol. And it does appear on analysis that you do pay quite a high level of premium versus turnover proportionately. And I think the issue may be high payments from the common pool of funds. So the payments going out are the issue. High payments out demand higher payments in, as we looked at in the earlier slide. And when you have higher claim payments going out, then the common pool does need topping up. So the world tomorrow, how can risk protection advice help? Well, the challenge may be a risk management review because of the cause or the causes of loss, understanding them more and responding to them, and establishing what is going wrong with claims in your sector. Why do they occur? And how do we then seek to improve the sector claims experience? So the common pool is based on your sector or a sector, whether it's automotive or the sector you're involved in or hospitality. The insurers will look at each sector and rate it accordingly, subject to the nature of claims they're paying. So how do we seek to improve the sector claims experience? We can do that through risk audit and risk management to reduce risk. So we looked at the triangle before. How do we reduce risk from common causes? How do we collaborate on sector leading working practices? How do we respond to the claims experience and try and change the way that we work? And as a sector, consider the black box thinking of the airline industry. There's a novel by an author, Matthew Said, called Black Box Thinking. It's very interesting when you get into it because what he does is he compares how the airline industry and the medical profession respond to errors. Now, we all know that airline travel is one of the safest forms of travel in the world. And it's driven by the fact that, as we also know, black boxes exist in all aircraft. So every single incident that occurs with an aircraft, whether it's a near miss or a pattern of near misses or actual incidents, the airline industry have effectively an amnesty where the black box detail is considered by them. And from every single incident, they learn and improve everything that they do. So it's having that approach to your sector. How can the sector improve what it does? How can it improve the claims experience for the insurers and therefore, in due course, reduce the cost of insurance for your sector? We're back to proactively reducing, and then transferring the risk. But the removal and the reduction is key. So just a little bit about Partners And. We are a challenger brand. We're here to protect tomorrow. It's our focus. It's our DNA. We are focused on providing true risk protection advice. We don't want to talk to you about insurance. We want to talk to you about risk protection for your investments, for your business. It's evident from my time in claims that the majority of clients have gaps in their cover. It happens for a number of reasons. It's a market issue. So our responsibility to you is to understand your business, to sit with you and truly understand your business, your sector, to then understand your risk, the risks you face, and then look at how that can be protected, how we can protect you. And once we've agreed the protection and the risk management program, we can then seek the optimum insurer and price in the market for that program. So just as we finish off, Leonardo da Vinci, again, I think a fantastic founder on the point of intelligent advice. Your founder was an intelligent visionary before his time. he designed a fire system, a sprinkler system in the 1500s. I think that's astonishing that he did it so long ago. And he used intelligent advice then applied to the risk challenge that he identified. So applying intelligent advice now may help you with your premium challenge. And just finishing off, for the record, Leonardo's system did work, but too well. And the deluge that occurred when the system operated was so excessive that it caused a significant amount of damage. So he too had risk challenges when he moved into this sector as your founder in the 1500s. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Graham. I found that very interesting, and I hope that our participants also enjoyed it. We have received a couple of questions,
okay,
which I'd like to ask you about. And this has been received anonymously. How do I, as an installer, get a better understanding of the risk protection insurance that I need?
Thank you, Wendy. It's a good question. I think all too often we don't understand what's available. So if we go to buy something, a new piece of equipment, a new vehicle, whatever it might be, we're on a learning curve. And the optimum solution is to sit with an advisor who will take the time to understand your risk, what the exposures might be. It's the only way to get to the right outcome is to invest that time. But I would go back to what I was saying earlier about protecting tomorrow, protecting your investment. Everyone that's on the call today will spend a lot of time in their business every day. That's a huge time investment, and everything that flows for their colleagues, their customers, their family flows from that business. So it's right to invest the time, and I would encourage anyone to invest the time with the right advisor so that the advisor can understand the risk, the nuances of each individual business, and then come back with a selection of products and options that you can consider. You may not need them all at once. You may decide to build up the program of cover, but I would say it is about the right program of cover, and having the knowledge and understanding what's available in relation to the risk you face. Once you understand the full potential of those risks, then gives you that knowledge and that confidence in what you're buying.
I hope that has responded to the question adequately. It seemed very thorough. We have a question. You have been asked whether you will name the case in the food industry versus sprinkler company. I'm passing that question on, Graham.
Yeah, I'm happy that we can name the case. So it's Good Life Foods against Hall Fire Protection, and I think it's a well-known case. It's well published in the market. But it shows that things do go wrong. I've spent 30 plus years dealing with claims, and things do go wrong despite the best intentions of everybody. In that case, the insurance was in place, but also in that specific case, it came down to the contract terms, and they were a key part of it. But the case is a good demonstration in your sector that things can go wrong. So again, it evidences that protection is required. And again, with that protection, you have that confidence and that business health.
Keith, do you have anything to add to that?
No, excuse me. I'd just like to thank Graham very much for his input today. Extremely interesting. And as he has said, the PI insurance is something that we are dealing a lot with at the moment. The Construction Industry Leadership Board survey that's gone out and recirculated to our members has generated a lot of interest. I think Graham would be happy to receive inquiries by email regarding PI insurance. And I know a lot of our members at the moment are looking to renew their PI insurance, and in some cases are not having a great deal of success. So Graham, would you be happy to receive inquiries for that?
Absolutely. I think if they can be forwarded through Wendy, that would be ideal. And PI is a challenge, but I go back to the points we made. It's about understanding how collaboratively we can work with you and work with the insurance market to improve the claims experience and to look at how we reduce risk, and then that will in turn reduce the premium. So we'd be delighted to receive inquiries and assist. Thank you.
Just before we go, we have another question. You were asked, my concern is price. So how do I know what is good value?
That's a really good question. I'm a Scot, so price is important to me. But genuinely, it is about, I think, unless you know what you're buying, then how do you know it's good value? So if somebody quotes you 500, 5,500 or 15,500, how can you determine whether that's good value if you don't, again, understand what you're buying? So to me, it's about protection first, understanding your risk, understanding the protection that's available to respond to that risk, designing the program, and then deciding, and then looking to the market for the optimum price for that package of protection. But I think with that knowledge, being informed, it's like buying a piece of equipment. You can buy a more expensive piece of equipment or a cheaper piece of equipment, but there is an outcome with that. The more expensive piece will be better. It will have more capability, and the same applies in insurance. So I think we're all conditioned to buying insurance on price, because our first insurance experience is when we buy our first car. And when we buy our first car, generally we're young, and because we're young, the premium is high. So we're conditioned at that point to try and get the price lower without necessarily understanding the cover that we're buying. So it is about just taking that step back, having the right advice about understanding your risk, your business, and then coming up with the right program, and then seeing what the price is. Because again, I go back to the start, whether it's 500 or 5,000, how do you know if it's good value unless you understand the product and what you're getting and the protection that is there to give you that confidence, as we mentioned earlier.
Thank you very much for that. Now, if anybody else has any other questions they want to put on chat now, that would be brilliant. Otherwise, my email address, marketing@bafsa.org.uk. Please send them over, and I will send them through to Graham and Keith, and we can keep the conversation going. There will be a recording of this online for all our members to watch and for you to review. And Keith, can I give you the last word, please?
Thanks, Wendy. Very, very much like to thank Graham for his presentation today, and to Partners And for joining us on this. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be having further webinars throughout the year, and we're very keen to get the subject matter that our members want. So please let us know if there's any particular subject you would like us to cover. As Wendy and Graham have said, please send any further inquiries to Graham via Wendy, and I'm sure he'll be happy to answer them, particularly on the PI subject as well. So thank you very much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in person sometime in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.